What up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of Learn to Fight. Today, we got a special guest. We got LLoyd Fitness, fitness guru, entrepreneur, high-level athlete. Dude's done a little bit of everything, so we're going to have a real interesting conversation. LLoyd Fitness.
What's up? What's up, man? Hey, that intro hyped me up, man. That was dope.
Yeah, I got the blueberry tea right here, blended up, But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. We know, I know you're a high-level fitness coach in great shape. You've been doing this shit a long time. Yeah, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, my sports background pretty much raised me, man. So I've been playing sports since I was 6 years old and following behind the footsteps of my older brother, my older sister. And that's how we was raised. We've always been into fitness. My parents instilled good habits into us since we were little. And I just noticed that having that sports background in my family with, my dad being a high caliber athlete, my mom playing sports back in the day, it really allowed for me to just hone in on a lot of different skill sets and not only just being in shape, but transferring that to the real world to where I can apply it to business, relationships, and other areas of my life. But yeah, I pretty much been doing the fitness thing since I was little. LLoyd Fitness launched back in 2015. From there, I've just been doing some digital marketing with a couple of my companies. So you can just say I'm a serial entrepreneur, been dibbling and dabbling in different things to allow for myself to just make multiple streams of income, man. So that's where I come from.
So you built up. So it all started with the fitness, with the sport. What sport were you doing?
This was back when I was like 6 years old. The first sport I've ever played was football. And I actually remember, because my family, RJ, Darrell, Chanel. And back when we was little.
Hey, real quick. He's talking about this dude, RJ. RJ is this dude. He's swole. He has a 12-pack, 13-pack. Dude's got veins coming out of his neck. Dude looks like a black Broly. That's what he looks like from Dragon Ball Z.
But yeah, that's my little bro, RJ. And we actually played on the same football team when I was 7 years old. That's when I started. He started when he was 6. I think coach gave him like a pass or something because you had to be 7 to start football back in the day. And I used to play defensive end on the little league team, and RJ used to play the other defensive end. And before every single play, I recall I would look over, check on my bro, see how you doing. And one play, I check over there, he made a tackle, and he's at the bottom of the pile. And you can just see, you can hear some little kid just scream. He starts squirming and screaming. And all of a sudden, next play, I look back over, he's nowhere to be seen. So I turn around and look towards my mom's van, and you can see RJ just sprinting towards the van. He was done. But long story short, I started my football career when I was 6 with my little brother, and I ended it also my last college football game with my little bro as well.
That's beautiful. So you ever have any Aaron Hernandez, when he was, I think he was 26, 27, and he was a high-level football player, and they found his brain. They said he had brain of a 70-year-old man, whatever. And I've watched football. I don't really watch football. I only watch fight sports, but I know people who do football and have done football. And I know a lot of people, they have serious brain injuries. They might not even realize it. So with as much experience as you had with football, all the people you might be like, hey, this dude's a little off. You know what I'm saying? So do you know anybody with CTE, or you feel has CTE, or have you seen people's life deteriorate who are high-level football players or around that sport?
Personally, I haven't, to be completely honest with you. I've never seen anybody straight diagnosed that's real true understanding from a clinic that they have that. One thing I will note that I've noticed, growing up and playing football, I grew up during a time where we was taught a certain way to tackle. Head up, chest up, you hit with your shoulder first. And I think knowing that as a kid and playing as a kid and growing up and playing throughout my college career, that really allowed for me to avoid any type of concussions. I've never been diagnosed with a concussion. There was one time, like I said, I'm gonna mention my little bro because I played with him so many years, especially being younger, playing with him, and then playing with him a couple years in college, that the only time I can recall that I've been hit to where like I thought, something was off was actually my little bro hit me. And it was by accident because we're on the same team. He played cornerback. I played free safety. We're running down into the hole to meet the running back, and we collide at the same exact time and hit heads. I fall back, and then, the next play's running. Like, this is fourth quarter, 2 minutes left on the clock. They're playing hurry-up offense. And what I noticed was I was seeing stars. Everything was like black. I was seeing stars. I couldn't really comprehend my vision. I still knew where I was at, but that was the closest I've ever got to it. I mean, it cleared up within 15 seconds. I'm sure it's the same type of experience that maybe you had if somebody punches you or it's just you can't really see too much. But, yeah, that's been my experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, thank God I've been lucky. Like, yeah, people be on here be trying to troll, like, oh, you got dropped, blah, 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 blah. I've actually never been knocked out, or I've never been to the point where I'm like, I don't remember what happened or whatever. It could happen any moment, but
yeah,
thank God I've never actually. I can remember one time I had a concussion, and it was in training. Yeah, I had, and it was because I kept training when I was already initially injured. And I just remember sitting in my bed at home, and I just had like a throbbing headache, and I was seeing flashes, and it was like, all right, this is a concussion for sure. Because I've had a headache before from sparring, whatever, from fights, but like I remember that time, like, okay, this is a concussion. And it lasted for a good week and then like 2 weeks. And it was actually before my pro debut. In that fight, if you see, like, I have like a black eye going into it. And the whole fight, I'm like, yeah, I can't take no shots because I remember like I got damaged bad before that fight. So I had to just take the dude down the whole entire time. And he landed one punch and it kind of jolted me. But yeah, concussions are no joke, But I personally think football is actually the most dangerous sport. I think it's more dangerous than MMA. Bare knuckle might be a little bit more dangerous, but I think when you got two big ass athletes who are super powerful, super fast, and they're running into each other, that's a car accident every single time. And I think people don't really realize how dangerous and violent football actually is.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, and if I had to recall like the most dangerous positions in football, it would be the running back position and it would be the linebacker position because that's their job. The running back's going to hit the hole full speed. The linebacker's going to do the same thing. He's going to meet him in the hole in order to tackle him. Now, the biggest thing that I've noticed that is going to deviate between if somebody gets like a head injury or not is it's almost based on timing, because sometimes you can't move out the way quick enough to get your head out the way, but it's almost like you have to really take a good angle and understand football, which me and my brother was talking about this like a couple weeks ago, understanding angles. And that all comes from playing at a young age. If you get somebody who starts football in high school, they might not have the knowledge and angles that somebody like, that started when they were 6. It's the same thing with like Devontae Davis. Like, he's a good fighter. And I think he out levels people based on his childhood experience. And I'm sure that you understand that, being a fighter.
Yeah, Devontae Davis. I mean, I think there's multiple factors. I don't think it's necessarily about if you started when you're a kid. I think it's about how bad do you want it. Your goals have to align, and you have to be putting in the work daily, consistently over X amount of time. I think, you could even start fighting at 30 years old if you're a good athlete and you're strong and you have some type of X factor, and you could take it far because I've seen it happen multiple times. Like, for example, Francis Ngannou, he became world champion. He started when he was like 26, 27 years old, and he became a world champion. But he was in the sand mines, you know what I'm saying, building that strength. Alex Pereira started MMA when he was in his like late 20s. Yeah, he was kickboxing, but he also was, since he was a kid, like hitting tires and flipping tires and working at a tire shop. You know what I'm saying? So he has a different type of strength than most people. So, but what's the worst injury you've had in football?
Oh man, I've tore my ACL. I've tore up my AC joint in my shoulder. That was probably one of my two worst injuries that I've ever sustained. But if I had to pick one of those two, I would actually say my ACL. The reason why I say that is because it still affects me till this day. And honestly, I think we spoke about this with, I've been training with you a little bit with the fighting and hitting some mitts with you. And that's one of the limiting factors that I decided, like, you know what? It's cool for me to fight and learn how to fight and train, but I won't step in the ring. And the reason why is because the risk of sustaining an injury, especially at my age, 35, got a kid now. It's not worth for me to be able to step back out there and prove what, I'm not making any money from it. But yeah, I tore my ACL back in college, my junior year. Man, I'm probably on somebody's highlight tape, to be honest with you, because it was on punt. The coach calls out, punt ready. When he says that, you got to get, everybody put their helmets on and you get ready to run out there. So we run out to the field. I take my position. The guy punts the ball. I'm sprinting down full speed, to the receiving guy. He catches the ball. I got him pretty much dead line in my sights to where I'm 100% going to make the tackle. Made this tackle 10 out of 10 times. But this time is a little bit different. What I noticed when I planted my foot in the ground, my foot got stuck. Like it was kind of like it wasn't muddy day, but the grass was a little damp. My foot got stuck. I pushed off to go towards him and my knee went one way. My ankle was stuck in the ground. And then that's it. Tore everything.
You knew right away it was done?
Oh man, I crawled up in the fetal position, bro. Like I was just laying there on the field in the fetal position. Like I wasn't crying or nothing, but I was literally laying there in the fetal position because I couldn't get up. And I recall one of my players on my team, and they was calling me, can we cuss on here? They was saying,
go ahead. As long as you don't say nothing too crazy, hey, well, you don't say nothing too crazy.
He's calling me the P word, like get up, pussy, get up. And I'm sitting there like kind of like peeking up at him, like, bro, you serious? Like, trying to like encourage me to get up. Like, bro, I was done. Like, imagine you running and you cutting, like you pushing off your leg and you feel like a rubber band just pop inside your knee. I'm like, man, like it was almost like I can't believe it. Too good to be, not me. But, after I got off the sideline and I was playing with RJ at the time, he came in and checked in on me. It wasn't until I got the results until I believed it. Like I was sitting there trying to jog the next day at practice and couldn't really move like I wanted to. But yeah, that still affects me to this day.
And then how long has that been?
That was back in 2011, bro, 2012. Yeah. So I feel like when you get injured, you always have to do some type of rehabilitation in order to kind of keep that muscle from atrophying and in order to keep going.
As a fact, I got injured way back in the day in high school, and like I don't really go to the hospital unless it's like, all right, you're about to die. You know what I'm saying? You got something serious. But I got my knee hyperextended in wrestling practice, and it was messed up probably for a good like 6 months. But it was a serious injury. I just never went to hospital. But till this day, my hamstring is it's not messed up because I figured it out, but it's not the same like as the other hamstring. You know what I'm saying? And that was like over 15 years ago at this point. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, the injuries, they don't really ever go away. And I think as you get older, you're gonna remember like, oh yeah, I did that there. You're gonna be able to feel it. We just kind of zone it out because we're so focused on so many different things. But I think as you get older, if you don't take care of your body, you will feel your injuries, all the injuries you've had in your life. And you brought up a great point, like with the fighting. Yeah, unless you really, because in the fight game, it's hard. It's even hard to make money. Like you got to be really good. You have to be really entertaining. You have to have a strong fan base. You have to sell a lot of tickets. You got to be there's a lot that goes into play. If you're going to be a fighter and make money, then you have to sell a lot of tickets. If you're going to be a fighter and you want to make money and be a champion, you have to have exciting fights. But the thing is like, yeah, you have to not care about the injuries. You know what I'm saying? You got to not care
Yeah.
about. And if you're at a certain point where you got a good life, you know, you're making money, you got your things going, you got a kid, you know, you got different things going. Yeah, what's the point of going in there at 35? Unless you just really, really want to prove something to yourself that you can do this. That's one thing which people do, you know,
Oh,
like
for sure.
the Green Power Ranger. I forget his name, but he actually had an MMA fight and
Oh, for real?
45 years old, something like that.
Is he good?
He I mean that's like a relative thing. Like he won the fight. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a good martial artist, but good like in comparison to John Jones, no. Like you know what I'm saying? So it just depends. But yeah,
Nah.
so yeah, I want to switch it up for a moment. So in your fitness journey, when you started training martial arts, you know, what was that like?
It was a complete shift. I noticed things was like completely backwards. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Like I'm used to a certain mechanic. I'm used to running, sprinting, jumping, playing football, basketball, running track, things of that nature. But I noticed whenever I went to start to train to fight, for some reason, like it wasn't like things wasn't clicking. But I started training to fight like back in when I was actually playing college football when I was at Mizzou. Like we used to have this guy who was a Golden Gloves champ. He used to kind of come to the gym, and me and my roommate would hit some pads a little bit. So I've been dibbling and dabbling like every now and then into fighting. And then back in St. Louis, I used to train with Petey, Harold Petey. He's a pretty good fighter. He's a professional fighter that went pretty far in the pros. And what I've noticed was like it took me a while to get the mechanics down. So for me to explain it, like I don't care how good of an athlete you are, whenever you switch to trying to learn to fight, it's something about it that you have to learn the angles, you have to learn the footing, the footwork of it, because it's not going to be like, oh, just because I can run fast or sprint and jump that I'm going to be a good fighter or a decent fighter.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Strategy, you know, knowing how to throw a punch. I mean, you seen like with Greg Hardy. I mean, he's a good athlete, but and he beat up some unathletic dudes. But as soon as he got to UFC, you know, he just got taken down, got destroyed, got knocked out like damn near every time. And then he transitioned over to boxing, and he's so high profile that they're not just going to give him no bum fight. He's going to fight someone who's good every single time, and they're going to want to make a name off of him. So he gets knocked out like damn near every time. He had some good wins as well, don't get me wrong, but like he's over in Russia, they'll take him to Russia. All right, they're going to pay him a grip of money, but he's going to fight somebody who's really, really good, and he just hasn't had the time to really develop the technique like that, you know. And especially he started late, unless you're just a freak athlete like Herschel Walker. You know Herschel Walker? Remember him?
Is that a football player?
Yeah, he was a football player, famous football player. He went over to MMA when he was like 50 years old, and he's like doing really good. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he actually did really good in Strikeforce. Like, unless you understand fighting intuitively, which most people don't, it's gonna be hard to transition over to that. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just like that's why I'd say it's not even a sport. It's a little bit more than a sport.
It's his own category.
You know, it's something different. Like you lose a football game, okay, big deal. Yeah, it sucks, whatever. You lose a basketball game, okay, it sucks, whatever. They like LeBron James, these guys, they pretend like they're sad. Yeah, they're sad, but it's not like the same as getting your ass beat in front of everybody and getting knocked out. You know what I'm saying? With your mom watching, like, you know what I'm saying? Not the same thing. Nowhere near the same thing. Like you see McGregor when he lost to Khabib, you know, he hasn't really been the same since. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came back and fought, but you know, fighters put so much into the actual fights themselves that it takes a big toll when you lose psychologically. Like, yeah, you can overcome losing and stuff like that, and if you have the right mindset, but you see, especially the better you are, the more high level you are, like to a degree, taking those losses can do so much damage. As you've seen with Conor McGregor, as you've seen with Izzy, he took that first loss to Sean Strickland. Now he's on like a 3-fight losing streak. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you know, BJ Penn. BJ Penn was a double champion, all shit. He went on like a crazy losing streak, and his ego and his pride doesn't allow him to stop fighting because he's that dude. But for whatever reason, he's just taking the losses, you know. So some fighters, you know, they take some losses, they never overcome them. They might even start having substance issues, different stuff. So it's not the same thing as like basketball. It's not the same thing. It's like a very, very personal thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I will say this. Yeah, that's 100% correct. We don't look at the losses as far as game to game. It's just like, okay, man, maybe our goal of not being the national champions might not, or it's not going to come true this year. Maybe we can be conference champions or so on and so forth. But I've noticed with football particularly, maybe other sports as well, whenever athletes finish, I don't care if it's on like I'm mainly talking about college and NFL type of level. Whenever you're finished with the college level, or maybe you go to the league and play for 2-3 years, whenever you're finished with that, that's when all the pain I've noticed comes back, and like they feel like a failure, so to speak. Like if they're in college, they're a really good athlete and they didn't make it to the league, they feel like a failure, and all that comes back to where they have that same type of effect that maybe a fighter have whenever he starts to get this lose streak, or maybe he was the guy and now he's not, like Conor McGregor. Then they maybe start to have substance issues and things of that nature at that moment in time, from my experience.
Yeah, I agree, because it is, your identity is so wrapped up in being a fighter or being an athlete. Because if you're gonna make it to the top level and make it to being a champion or a high level competitor, like it needs to be your identity. You need to be thinking.
Yeah.
So if you didn't reach your goal, yeah, it's gonna suck. But you know, like we got our whole lives ahead of us. You know, like let's say in the fight game, you can fight a long time. You can literally fight a very long time.
Right.
Because there's so many ways to go about it. You can do expedition fights. You can fight opponents who are similar to you. Let's say if you're 50 years old and you're able to sell tickets, you can find somebody who's older, who's a martial artist, and you can have a good fight and put on a great event. And if you just want to be a fighter, there's places all over the world. But like, you know, as athletes, we all have our whole lives ahead of us. Let's say we live 100 years. Okay, let's say in fighting, okay, you can compete till you're 50, right? Mike Tyson just fought at 60, right? But not many people are going to be able to do what he did. So when you hit 50, you still got a long way to go. You know, hopefully you still got another 50 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how I like to look at it. Like, you still got another 50 years. So 50, you're only halfway there. Like, you got a long way to go. And so you're not just a fighter. You're not just an athlete. You're not just that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think mental health when it comes to these sports and being an athlete is very important. You know, yeah, maybe you didn't make it to the league, but you're not trash now. You know what I'm saying? You're still a champion in life. Maybe you didn't get the belt, but you're still a champion. You know, you still did something that is, you know, 1% of what people are even able to do. You know what I'm saying? So not many people will ever step foot in the cage. You know, so some people would be like, oh, you got knocked out, you got dropped, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Come to the gym. Let's see what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? They won't do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's just like that man in the arena thing. You know, people are gonna say whatever they say. But at the end of the day, if you went out there and you competed in any sport and you went out there, you did your best, there's nothing. If you didn't make it to the league, there's no shame in that. You know what I'm saying? You're better than the timid people who they're never going to mess up because they never tried anything. So if you went out there, you had a fight and you worked hard, you went out there, you got knocked out in 4 seconds, like Jose Aldo when he fought Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? Jose Aldo is a champion, one of the best fighters ever. Yeah, he got knocked out in 4 seconds. I'm sure that haunts him to this day. But,
for sure.
You know, that's just what it is. You go out there, you try things, you fail, you come back, you figure it out, you struggle, you quit, you come back. You know what I'm saying? It's a fight. Life's a fight, you know, and that's what it's about. Like keeping the fight going and not just giving up.
Yeah. There was a movie on Netflix. I can't remember the name of the movie. I watched this probably like 3-4 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. But pretty much the guy was an amateur guy, and he goes into the gym, and there's this professional guy. He's kind of like a bully walking into their gym and talking stuff, trying to fight everybody. And the guy just long story short, not to spoil the movie or anything, but the guy challenges him, the amateur. The amateur ended up getting a couple shots off and goes viral on the internet. This is a movie. It ain't in real life. But my point with making all that was that towards the end of the movie, the amateur guy ended up going pro. He ended up doing great. But one fight, like he got just knocked. He got his clock cleaned. And then from there, like I don't think a lot of people talk about, I don't know if this is true or not, because like, I've never been in that position, but he started having like, and I'm sure it is. He started having like PTSD, couldn't sleep. He started replaying the knockout, over and over.
Yeah, that's real. That's
to the fact that he couldn't
1,000% real.
fight.
It's real, super real. Because here's the thing, like in the fight sport, so glorious because you go out there, you get a big knockout, boom, you're going crazy. Like, yeah, you climbed the biggest mountain ever. And all the lights fade away. They don't remember the dude who got knocked out. The dude who got knocked out, you got to understand, okay, if you didn't work that hard and you didn't work that hard and you went out there and shit happened, all right, I didn't work that hard. Is what it is. It was on me. I didn't work that hard. But no, when you put that work in and you dedicate your life and you work very hard and you go out there and you lose a fight, even if you didn't get knocked out, yeah, it's traumatizing. It's real traumatizing for real. Wow. Because that's like, number one, you got into a fist fight with another man, and you do know in that fight, if no one else was there, you would be dead. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's that part, a little bit emasculating, even though it doesn't matter. You're a warrior, go out on your shield, no problem. But there's that. Then there's the idea of, what could I have done differently? Dang, what did I do? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? You let people down. Then you have the people online talking trash. You know what I'm saying? The trolls, because they never stepped in the cage. They never stepped in the ring. So they don't really realize, like the stuff they're saying, most fighters got thick skin, but, that stuff does get the fighters, So especially you have the rest of your life going on. You know what I'm saying? You got, maybe your girlfriend is being annoying. Maybe you got some kids. Maybe you're short on the money. You know what I'm saying? Whatever's going on. And when you lose that fight, depending on your contract, you're getting like half of your money. You know what I'm saying? Depending on your contract. So you have that. So it's just a lot that goes into it. And if you as a fighter, we're gamblers. So a lot of times, like for me, certain fights, I gambled everything on. You know what I'm saying? Like if I don't win this fight, like I'm going to be in a shitty situation because I put everything I had into this fight. You know what I'm saying? Literally, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, everything on the line because I believe in myself that much. And then if you lose and if you get knocked out and if you get knocked out embarrassingly, there's going to be PTSD from that because same as soldiers when they go to war, you're going combat head to head with a person. You're going to have some PTSD. And that's why, you see some fighters, like, so say, for example, McGregor is a perfect example just because, like someone went up to him recently in Vegas and they're like, they think it's a joke. You know what I'm saying? They think it's a joke because they haven't actually been to an actual fight and they had never fought. So when you watch it on TV, it's like a video game. It's very different than when you're there and you actually feel the shots. You see the shots, you see the blood, you see everything. Very different. So a lot of fans, they're like, they think it's a joke. You know what I'm saying? They think it's not real. They think it's WWE. So the dude goes up to McGregor and he's like talking about, he's like, Khabib, blah, blah, blah. First off, you got to understand, most people who are fighters, they're not like regular people. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason that they're in the cage. Whether even if they reform themselves and they're like nice people now or they're cool, whatever, to step in a cage with another man, for sometimes little money or just the opportunity to build yourself up to the point where you're making a lot of money and you're gonna risk everything and go in there and do it time and time again, you're a different type of guy. You know what I'm saying? So now you got someone like McGregor who's a different type of guy, and you're talking about Khabib to him, right? And you're taunting him about Khabib, one of the most traumatic moments of his life.
Yeah.
And so he's like, he showed growth. He's went under spitting the dude's face. But no, it's not a joke for fighters. It wasn't a joke to McGregor when he got choked out by Khabib, and then then they jumped over the cage and there's a big brawl and all this shit. It's not. It might be entertainment to you, but this shit's real to us. You know what I'm saying? Like that's real beef. Like for Khabib and McGregor, that's real beef. So you're going out there, and a lot of fighters are gangsters as well. Like a lot of fighters, even if they're reformed, the dude's name is Notorious. He's notorious for a reason. You think it's a joke, and you're going out there taunting him, and then you wonder why he punched the old dude for not taking his whiskey. You know what I'm saying? Dude threw a dolly through a bus. You know what I'm saying? He was dead serious. So, like, people think it's a joke. They think it's a game. When you go to a real fight and you're up close, you realize, oh, it's not a game. This is very different. Which you've been to my fights and stuff. What was it like when you went to your first MMA fight?
For you personally?
For any fight. Yeah,
I mean,
any fight.
I can't recall. I don't know if that was my first one, but I've been to a couple ones before. So I supported Jameis back in St. Louis. But yeah, you're right. It's different, man. Like it's live. You see, especially when you know the person. When you know the person, it's a completely different feeling because now it's like you can relate to it. It's almost like you feel you in the fight with them. Like you kind of looking how they moving and you understand like their mindset and kind of how they talk about things. So now if something were to happen or if they win, you feel all those emotions. So it's a lot different from me just watching UFC and two champions on the TV that I don't know. So I think it's like a lot more intimate. Like you understand that, hey, this is my friend. Like, you want the best for him. So you're going to hoping and praying over there that it goes right.
And when it goes, and it can go right, but it can go wrong as well. It can go wrong as well, and that's what I think for me, I think when it comes to MMA, like supporters, fans, people just got to understand that it's not just like a sport. It's not just like you lose a game. Like it's very serious stuff going on. And because when you're playing UFC, the video game, and you're just playing it, it looks the same as when you're watching it on TV. So you can go to the NBA and taunt LeBron and taunt all these guys. It's not really that serious because they're not fighters. You know what I'm saying?
True.
They're not fighting people. So you go up and you taunt McGregor, you taunt John Jones, and then you wonder why he's kicking you upside your head, or putting you in a choke, and you're taunting Mike Perry, and he's like the dude you see who's in there in the cage, who's a crazy dude. That's how he is for real, especially if he's preparing to fight. You know what I'm saying? So I do private security as well. So for like high level, wealthy people in California. So one night, we're at this fancy club, whatever, and Luke Rockhold comes in. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh shit, what's up, Luke? Blah blah blah. I know who he is because I'm deep in the sport. We're chopping it up, whatever. It's all cool. It's all love. He's there to have a good time. And there's like some teenagers, maybe like a 20-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever the case is. The dude walks up. He doesn't know who Luke is. Walks up, shoulder checks him just because he thinks he's just like some surfer or something. And Luke, the look in his eyes, because I know that look because we all had that look. There's a certain point in time when it comes to fighters, that, it's like you almost dumb out for a second. Like the testosterone is so high in you, nothing makes sense no more. It doesn't matter about nothing. You're just seeing red. You're just looking to get into a fight. You know what I'm saying? Because me and you, we've gotten into it before. Bro, obviously, you're my guy, but like when you're in fight mode and you're like testosterone, there's just nothing. It's like you just almost become dumb in a way. With men, it's like I feel like we're kind of dumb in a way. It's like I want to fuck, I want to fight. testosterone. When it gets to that point, you just dumb out. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right.
like with fighters, we have a lot of testosterone because you're fighting dudes all day. So this dude like shoulder checks Luke, and I see the look in Luke's eyes. He's like, he's about to rip this dude's head. I'm trying to hold him back. And it's like, bro, we got to get out of here. That's the thing. That's why I think every man should be training martial arts so they have a respect for combat and they have more respect. And when you're watching those MMA fights, you got to have respect because it's something that's extremely hard. It might look easy, but it's really not. It's really, really not.
No, for sure. No, I agree with that, man. And that's like I call that dog mentality, man. Like I can't explain it. It's been times where like you said, like doing sports I call it that like Zen mode where you just zero in. It's almost like you so focused, you know what you're doing, but it's just everything's on autopilot, like getting an interception or fighting. It's happened to me a couple times in the gym, and I had to kind of teeter it back a little bit because I noticed I'm just training. I'm not actually fighting somebody. But I think to go back on what you said before, like how is it to start training fighting? It's almost like you can't. It's like that psychological response that you get is that hasn't been trained your whole life starts to trigger. Like you're in a fight. Like you think you training and you think you're in a fight. It's not the same. And I think going back to a couple of stories when you was in the gym at the time where I got into it with a certain pro guy, and it's almost like is it something got triggered to where like I'm in a fight, you know, I'm like let's go, I'm in a fight, but it's like why did that happen like that? You know, we're just training, touching each other, and something clicked to me to turn it up another level, and I think that kind of edges towards like with you fighting about like training etiquettes, and because I don't really know the training etiquettes, and I got kicked out of a gym session that particular day, and I had to sit on the sidelines and just go home the rest of the day because it got so amped up in the coach's eyes. But in my eyes, it was just like, nah, like we good. We had an understanding of, you know, what was going on, but maybe the training etiquette wasn't there.
Yeah, so the training etiquette, especially in fight gyms, is all right. When it comes to pro fighters, I mean, we make our money fighting. You know what I'm saying? So people aren't really trying to get in brawls and stuff like that. And your brain, you want to have a healthy brain. So people aren't trying to get in brawls and stuff because we gotta spar twice a week. So if you're going in and you're going to war every day, you're not gonna make it. You're really not, because you're not gonna last 5 years because your body's gonna be so banged up. You might not even last really a year doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because you might last 2 years, 3 years, but your body's gonna be so banged up and take so many injuries. You're not gonna want to go to training. It's gonna be a negative environment. So you seen this week, actually, there's a clip, Kevin Lee, he's at the gym and his sparring partner, he's just moving around, he's just flowing, he's trying new things, he's trying to learn, you know what I'm saying? Because when we're sparring, that's the time to learn. It's not a fight. We're not getting paid, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a time to like get after it and go hard, but we're not trying to go hard like we're trying to really, really go for it, you know what I'm saying? So Kevin Lee, he's playing around, throwing a flying knee. The dude just throws a crazy hook on him, drops him. You know what I'm saying? And then someone posted the video, but everyone online is like, yeah, that dude's a horrible sparring partner. Yeah. Because here's the thing as well. You can die training. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
Because you can die in these fights. And when you're in the gym, and it's happened before, when you're sparring, you get hit the wrong way, something happens, you get your brains bleeding, whatever. People have died sparring before. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going in to training and you're trying to go 100% all the time, it's just not healthy for anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's not. And then people are getting mad, and then it's a real fight, and then it's just not good for anybody. It's not the type of gym you want. You know, for example, why train at Kings? Like, we're known for going hard, you know, but we go hard, but it's all love, though. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't really seen anybody ever get knocked out in the gym. I've seen people get dropped, but that's just regular stuff for training. I've been dropped in training. You know what I'm saying? Catch a head kick when you weren't looking. Dang, I should have had my hand up. But it wasn't malicious. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make each other better. We're trying to make each other better. And the intent is very important. So if you're training and you're getting mad, it's one thing to get mad, like, dang, I wish I should be doing better, and let me pick it up a little bit. But when you're training and you're getting mad, like, all right, I'm gonna hurt this dude. That's not really the right mindset we want.
Right.
Like, yeah, sometimes that's the mindset you want to be in, but you're not really trying to hurt your partner. And if you have a partner who's really trying to hurt you, eventually it's just not going to be a good situation. So the etiquette is you're there to learn. We're all here to learn. Now, you might get dudes who want to take advantage that you're not as skilled yet, and you're a big black dude and you're in shape and you're an athlete. So they might try to like knock you out because they want to boost their confidence. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, he's an athlete. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Those dudes are idiots. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody I train with, I take care of them. You know, we take care of each other.
Right.
We go hard, but we're not getting injured. There's not, you know what I'm saying? If someone gets injured, it's just a freak accident. That's bound to happen. It can happen sometimes.
That's what I like about training with you, because I've always had that respect for I've never actually like, you know, tried to hurt you or anything. But I've noticed actually that's why I think that's why I was so upset, because I think you had a fight coming up that we were touching each other, tagging and whatever. And the coach took it like I was going too hard on you. And I'm looking at the coach like, first of all, this is my boy. Second of all, I don't think you thought that I was going too hard on you. You're a professional fighter. You know how to protect yourself. I'm trying to like get you ready for the fight in my eyes. I don't know how people get ready for fights, but I'm thinking like, oh, let me turn it up a little bit, not as far as like the intensity, but as far as the speed. And it might look like I'm going hard, but it really was just a way for me to show love. And I took it as like, you know, kind of back talk to the coach and end up getting kicked out the gym. But yeah, I definitely understand that what you're saying.
I think there's like, for example, with fighters as well, like, okay, let's say someone's preparing for a fight. They might have worked out like multiple times that day and they're cutting weight. So that's, you know, Joaquin Buckley actually said, another St. Louis dude, he actually talked about this recently, where he had a fight coming up that weekend and some fighter wanted to spar him. And he's like, nah, I got to fight and I'm cutting weight. All this shit. Like, nah, it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Because if you have a fight coming up as a pro fighter, it's very, very important. If you lose, because let's say you zig when you should have zagged and you're like a week or two out
and training,
you get knocked out in training.
Yeah.
Now you go into that fight, because most fighters are going to still go into the fight, even if they got knocked out in training. Now you're going into a fight with a concussion where you're risking your life, and you're risking your life even more so. You know what I'm saying? So if a coach is like, yeah, now you got to chill out. He has a fight coming up, blah, blah, blah.
They understand, yeah.
It's more about like, it's not about like, yeah, there's a time to go hard and there's a time to like work on technique. You know what I'm saying? If you're going into the gym and every single day you're trying to fight for your life, you're not going to get better. You're going to get injured a bunch. There's a time, like, for example, if you're fighting, if you have a fight coming up, your hard training is done like about two weeks before the fight. Your hard training is done. Because you need about 2 weeks to fully heal. Right. So yeah, there's stuff like that. I mean, pretty much the etiquette is like, if a coach tells you something, then like martial arts, like, yeah, there's no back talking to coach. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
There's like you're supposed to have massive respect for the coach, because the coach is like he's not there to like be better than you or whatever. He's there to help you, and he's your sensei. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
That's like number one. You go into a martial arts gym, like, yeah, like that's why in jiu-jitsu it's like you bow and everything, because respect is number one in martial arts. You know,
no,
so
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I've had fights where, like I said before, gyms I've trained at where 2 weeks before the fight, why are we going ridiculously hard? Well, now I'm going with a heavyweight, and now I got a concussion 2 weeks before the fight. I'm going to the fight. Yeah, I still won the fight, but the problem is okay, if I would have zigged when I should have zagged, and now I'm taking big shots and getting concussed inside the fight. Now you're risking. Now you're risking my life. Like, and it's just not like you just gotta listen to the coach. That's like number one. Like, yeah,
No,
every pro
100%.
fighter, we can go hard all day, but you've seen, like, for example, Sean Strickland sparring Alex Pereira. They're not going hard. They're not going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because they both have the potential to really, really hurt each other. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to make it to the fight. You know what I'm saying? They're working. The idea is to work and get better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not a fight. So that's the thing where a lot of people, especially a lot of older guys, when they come into the gym, like, they might not ever have a fight, but they're taking the training as a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're taking the training way too serious, and then they end up getting hurt, and then it ends up just being a shit show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I'll be completely honest with you. I 100% agree with that. I think, honestly, this was a couple years ago. I kind of stopped training hard with the fighting. Like, I do shadow boxing every day, hit the bag a little bit every now and then. But the reason, this is 100% honest, the reason why I stopped like that is because I couldn't decipher between the two. Because there's been some times where, like, I'm like thinking like, oh, okay, I'm matching the other guy's energy. Like, we're just touching, nobody's really getting hurt. And me and you've always had some good training sessions at the UFC gym when you worked there. We had a group of guys there. We all respected each other, so on and so forth. But there's been a couple of times where I went to a fight gym and I'm doing the same type of, like me and you do, or me and the guys do with Jatron, guys like that. And I get kicked in the stomach real hard. I'm like, okay, is this a time for me to retaliate? Because, like I said, I am an athlete and I can. And, like, I noticed, like, you know what? It's really hard for me to decipher that. And I don't, and I know, like we was talking about that dog energy earlier. I know if that guy comes out, I'll tear this whole place down. So I'm like, okay, let me just chill on the fight game, because first of all, I'm not going to go into I'm not going to actually get in the ring. Second of all, it's hard for me to decipher who I'm sparring to where, okay, now I'm getting hurt and I can't really retaliate. So let me not go back anymore. So that's really 100% why I kind of stopped going.
Yeah, there's a difference. So let's say you're training or sparring and you get kicked in the stomach because your technique was off. Your technique just wasn't good enough or whatever. There's an opening. You get kicked in the liver. Boom, you go down. So there's a certain way you could tell. There's just a certain vibe you could feel. Okay, was this person really going after me crazy, or was it just like he just got me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I said, you going into the gym as a big black dude.
People point it out and they want to exploit it. I'm like,
they're gonna
come on now.
Especially if you're new to striking, you don't really have your technique up to that point yet. Yeah, they're gonna take advantage of you for sure.
I see what you're saying.
Because they're gonna be like, oh, he's gonna hit like crazy. He's gonna be a big monster. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to find the right people to train with who are going to take care of you and you're going to take care of them. But it's just, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing,
Yeah.
But I've been training my whole life, basically.
So you feel it.
I've been through all these gyms. Sometimes there's a time where you do have to pick it up on people and be like, all right, you think that I'm being like, you think that you're going to take advantage of me? Nah, it's not how it's going to go. And you sit down on the right hand, bomb, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to do that, you know what I'm saying? But you don't want to make that the norm of what you're doing. Like, I remember when I first moved to California and I was training at a gym, and no one really knew me yet. They didn't know where I'm from. They didn't know my pedigree. They didn't know where I trained, or nothing that. So I go into the gym and I'm sparring this dude, and he's just going crazy. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'm just moving around. He's an older guy. He's probably like 38. You know what I'm saying? He's going crazy. And pretty much, I'm like, all right, we're doing this. Okay, let's do it. So me and this dude ended up full-on fight. It was a full-on fight right there at the sparring session. I crack him in his nose. He's bleeding everywhere. He's coming after me. Everyone clears out. They're just watching.
Right. Like,
I'm not backing down because this dude's trying to come at me crazy, and we're going to go there. You know what I'm saying? And that happens sometimes. Sometimes it's bound to happen. Sometimes it needs to happen. But if people are getting genuinely mad after
Yeah.
that, that's where it's
a line.
it's a weird thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like something that I don't know how to explain it. I just been in it for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, let's switch it up for a moment. So what has been the hardest thing you've done in your life?
As far as what?
Anything in your whole life?
Honestly, it would be, I would say, going through my ACL rehab.
Yeah, why is that the psychological part?
It was a switch for me. I think it, like, looking back on it, it was during a time where I was all physical, playing football at a high level. I understand how to get my way physically. I can go, have a bad day throughout school and go to football practice and just smash somebody. Okay, I feel better now. But what I noticed was, as far as growing mentally, to be able to learn how to meditate, to, like, if I can't use my physicality, then what? So it sat me down. It really forced me to be able to understand that, okay, there's a whole nother ball game to this, so-called life. It's going within. Like, I'm sitting on the couch months upon months, can't walk, have to have people feed me and make food for me. So I started to just read books, getting out of that dark place to where I might not be able to, I don't know if I can walk again or if I can play football ever again, because I did have a couple more years left for eligibility. It put me down to like a place where I was just, depressed. So I think that was the hardest part of my life, and understanding the rest of my life was set on that foundation, on just being able to sit down, go internally, manifest some things internally, and then once I was able to get back physical again, to combine those two skill sets together.
And how'd you get out of that?
I was reading a lot of books. Yeah. So, cause I was starting to go, like, things were getting pent up. Like, you had all this pent up energy. I usually just go for a run. I usually go to the gym. So I started to exhaust myself mentally. And during that time, I actually got my CSCS, which is one of the certifications that I have for my training, which was the best certification in my opinion, because you have to have a bachelor's degree to get it. So I was reading all day, every day. It got to a point to where I'm like, I sit here and I watch Netflix all day. So what can I do differently? Netflix isn't making me feel better. I can laugh off the pain, whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy the CSCS book. I ordered that from Amazon. It came to the crib, and I just started reading it. And after 3 months of just reading the book, going to sleep, popping some painkillers, eating some food, becoming overweight, keep reading the book, I took the test. And on the first time I took the test, I passed it, which is like a 50% pass rate on that test. Like, most people got to take it 2, 3, 4 times in order to get it. But I think that really proved something to myself, because I haven't always been like into the books. That's one of the reasons why when I was at Mizzou, I ended up becoming ineligible, because my GPA was too low. I was so focused on, like I said, the physicality of the sport. But now I'm like, okay, I am smart. I can do some things in the books if I choose to, if it's important to me. So that just switched me to be able to know that I can do the mental part as well.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there, you're super physical, you can't use your knee, you can't work out, you can't get the energy out, and you're sitting there getting fat. Yeah, I can see that. that would depress you 100%. That is something really hard to deal with, the ACL injury.
Yeah. Plus the pain of it, man. It was just like, you can't even bend your knee, and it's just so painful. But the pain pills you taking is not good for you, because I'm constipated. I can't go to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm breaking, life falling apart. So I'm like, okay, first of all, I got to get off the pain pills eventually and just feel the pain, because it's not doing me no good. Second of all, I need to figure out a different way to switch that energy to get exhausted with my brain. So
yeah, that's wild, man. So what do you feel like
my bad, to answer your question farther, the second, I guess, well, I won't say the second, but another, and I I'm still, I'm on the tail end of getting over that. Still kind of working through that now. Is on my father passing.
Yeah.
That's like things in life, man, just happen so abruptly to where like it's just you're not prepared for things.
You mind getting into that?
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like 2 years ago, right?
That was, yeah. And I'll go back to the story I talked about with getting into somebody with the gym.
Yeah.
That was like, bro, that day earlier that day I found out the news. I should not have went to the fight gym that day because in my mind I was like, I'm about to take this out on somebody. So I already kind of predetermined I'm about to go to the gym and fight somebody. So, but yeah, long story behold, yeah, that's probably why I got into it that day.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's another piece of etiquette. You can't take stuff from outside into the gym and take it out on somebody because then it's going to be a fight because everybody's dealing with, you never know what people are dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Someone could have just got the craziest news ever, and then you meet them and you're just there. You don't know what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? So I always try to, keep that in mind. Like, really never know what people are going through, like for real. I've had multiple friends off themselves, or what do they say? Unalive themselves, multiple friends. You know what I'm saying? So, double digits. So it's like, and the main thing that is very similar with all of them, nobody knew anything was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you never know what people are going through. And I try to treat everybody nice. Yeah, I might flip somebody off here and there. You cut me off in traffic, you know what I'm saying? I might say some mean shit here and there, but I'm not perfect. But I, for the most part, try to like remember that, like, everybody is going through stuff. But so you got the news, and what was that like? Your reality just started to spin, or what? What was it like? Regret, like.
A little bit of everything, man, because you got to realize, like, I'm in California and, with everything happening in Missouri, it kind of puts things into perspective. Am I in the right spot? Do I need to go back to the crib? Like, there was a reason why I left Missouri, but a lot of doubt started to come in, like a lot of regret on the time wasted that I could have spent. And it was just a lot of grieving period of not really understanding the situation. And I believe like a lot of things that we go through that are the toughest times in our life is based off of not being prepared. I heard a story about people in the U.S. military. The first thing that they learn how to do is to unjam their gun. In case their gun gets jammed, they're in a combat situation. They learn how to unjam it to get it back going. The second thing they learn how to do is to carry a dead body. You're like, what? Like, wouldn't they learn how to shoot the gun, defend themselves? Like, no, what they learn first is what's going to be the hardest thing to overcome. One of the worst, like they learn the worst situation. This is the worst it can get. You're in a combat situation. You can't even shoot back, or your buddy just died next to you and you got to drag him back and tell his family. Like, it's the hardest thing you can go through in the military. They teach you that first. So my experience with a lot of that stuff just really start to put in perspective of preparing myself in order for me to be able to understand these situations, because that's one thing that happens to everybody. We all are born and we all die, but we never really sit down and talk about these things to understand like how to deal with it. And that, that's what kind of pushed me to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important that, I read a lot of books, and some of the books that I read, they're all about warriors and stuff, like samurais. But it's important. One of the books, like Book of Five Rings, and Sun Tzu, different books like that, samurai type books, they talk about like, it's important to meditate on the fact that, daily, one day it's going to come to an end. One day it's all going to come to an end, or it's not going to come to an end, but you're not going to no longer be Lloyd. You know what I'm saying? You're no longer going to be Manny. You know what I'm saying? One day it's going to come to an end. So today, what can we do to make the most of it? You know what I'm saying? To be like grateful for the people in your life, to show them love. And yeah, obviously, there's another book I read. It's called I read it every few years. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And the way the book starts is you do a meditation, basically a visualization of your funeral. And what are people going to say at your funeral? Are they going to be like, yeah, man, that dude, he helped me out when I was really down and out. You know what I'm saying? He was a good guy. Like, you know, how are you going to impact people's lives? So you start with the end in mind. You know what I'm saying? And then you go throughout your life every day with that idea. Like, one day it's going to be over. And if you think it's just going to be, I think that's where depression comes from. Because as you're saying with your ACL, you know, you kind of just felt in limbo and you're not really doing anything and you're just watching Netflix and you're all this pleasure, all this dopamine, but really that dopamine is making you depressed. You know what I'm saying? Because we're meant to suffer. That's why that's learn to fight. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to fight every single day in the human race. Our whole existence have been about struggling, overcoming. You know, that's why it's going to feel so good when I get in the cage and I get my next win, because I had to go through a lot to get there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what pushes me and wakes me up. Like, I got to do this. You know what I'm saying? I got to get it. I got to do it. I'm going to win. It doesn't matter if you lose. Like, I can do it. I'm going to win. And you're going to go out there. You're going to struggle. You got to fight, call your way to finally get that win. And then that's when you feel truly happy. You know what I'm saying? We feel really happy when we're suffering. That's when we feel the most alive. That's why we go to the gym, because we want to go to the gym. People love my classes and my sessions because I put them through hell in those sessions. Like, I don't go easy on them. Like, we go hard. Like, I know how to push it, like, you know, right to someone's breaking point, but they come back every time. You know what I'm saying? Because in that time, they feel alive. They feel good. You know, they're suffering. Same thing like when you take an ice bath. You know, back in the day when I was in Missouri, I used to, in the wintertime, I would take just ice cold showers or go out in the cold and just sit out there for a bit. And it would suck, but afterwards I just feel so good. I feel full of energy, full of life. Like, I feel alive, you know what I'm saying? And when we got too much pleasure, we don't feel alive. And that's where depression comes from. So yeah, I mean, I definitely feel you. And, you know, one day it is all gonna come to an end. And I think it is important that you know, we talk about these things, but it doesn't have to be like super sad. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, I'm here, I got my mission to do, and I'm doing my thing, whatever. One day it's gonna come to an end, but it's never an end. You know what I'm saying? You just turn into the next thing. You just become the next thing, you know, and show people love while you're here. So, you know, they remember you and whatever, but yeah, that's something that, you know, I think about, you know, quite a bit actually. Like, I got to make sure I show people my family love. You know what I'm saying? Got to make sure I show people in my life love, because you never know. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's facts, man. And yeah, I'm a firm believer in all that. And biggest thing, like I said, is the preparation of it. Because if you can have these conversations with people beforehand, you know, if I can have these conversations with my brothers and sisters now and get an understanding of it, or how I want it to be done, and when I go out, you know, because it's going to happen. You know, someone's going to have to experience the other person, or vice versa. So when I go out, this is how I want it to be done. I want it to be a celebratory type of thing, like you said, because now, if I've lived my life on purpose and I don't have any regrets, and I've been reaching out and doing the things I need to do, and I'm prepared for it, there's nothing to be surprised about. But yeah.
So what was the most important thing that your dad taught you, looking back?
Looking back on everything, my dad was always a positive person. Like, from my perspective, like, I don't know what anybody else experienced, but the one thing I've experienced with my dad throughout my childhood all the way until he passed was he's always gonna show a certain type of, you know, persona to his kids, you know, meaning myself and my siblings. And that's one thing that I've taken my whole life, is just like, you know, always being able to see the positive in things, and always being able to keep going no matter what. I think there was one time where I experienced my dad kind of he got mad about something and slammed the phone down. I'm a kid. I walk in like, Dad, what's going on? You good? And he, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Everything's straight. Everything's straight. He didn't want to show that, almost to the point to where it's like, I almost got like a reality of, how do I say it? Like not really like a realistic of how reality really is, because everything isn't always good news, to the point to where if you're so used to that and then finally you experience something that is undesirable, it kind of like throws you off a little bit. But yeah, that's one thing he taught me, is just always be in good spirits, always make sure you guys, he always would say, before every football game, when he dropped me off at college, he would say, stay up and stay positive.
I love that.
Complaining doesn't do you no good.
So then, as your situation, as your dad passed away, your son was about 1 year old, or he was coming into the world? What was that situation? It's like a cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're the dad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That was a crazy experience, man. That was crazy because I didn't really realize what was going on until my son was born. Because like, you got to realize, with my experience, my son's mom was pregnant at the time that my dad passed. So there's a lot going on in my life at that time. Like, I'm kind of having to juggle, the emotions of my son's mom, also the emotion of my family, of what's going on, because my dad had cancer. It wasn't like an instant death. It was like a slow, things were declining, type of thing. To where now it's like going through, like, with my son coming into this world, I didn't really know what was going on until he was born, because the day in the hospital, I show up to the hospital, and I'm there, and I'm just kind of like, wow, it's crazy, because my dad, the last conversation I had with him was, hey, Dad, Caden's going to be born in February. This is back in like September of the year before. I'm like, Caden's going to be born. He barely can talk things. He was dealing with some things. But he turned and looked at me. He was like, don't worry about it, T, I got you. Like, I'm going to be there for his birth. I got you. And then we started back watching this movie again. The movie was called Ride Along 2. I'm like, all right, cool. I kind of perked up. I'm sitting in the hospital with him as I'm having this conversation with him. So I had to fly back from California to Missouri. My mom called me and said, hey, things aren't going too well. So I'm sitting in the hospital with my dad while I'm having this conversation. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I kind of let him get his rest. And I actually flew back to California like a day or two after that. Like, man, I just had a conversation with Pops. He said everything good. He going to be there for my son's birth, which is next year. So, okay, I can go back to Cali, handle some business and, whatever. Bro, 2 days later, I got the call back from my mom. Hey, T, things aren't looking too well. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I just talked to Dad 2 days ago. He was eating food. He was, he was perked up. He was staying up. He was staying positive, like he would always teach us. I didn't know it was that bad, Manny. Like, I'm sitting there just like, Pop's good. My mom called me, said, get back. The doctor said he probably got 24 hours to live. I'm like, that don't make sense. So I fly back to Missouri, and he was just like, it was completely different. He was just incapacitated. He couldn't really speak much, and we had to bring him back home. That's where he passed away at. But kind of going back to the story with the hospital with my son, as I walk into the delivery room, everybody's sitting down. Everybody's sitting down, just kind of, just sitting there and quiet. So I asked everybody, you guys want to watch a movie? Like, let's watch a movie, kind of pass some time, because it's going to be a little bit before the birth. As I click the remote, turn on the TV, the first movie that showed up on the TV was Ride Along 2. That was the same exact movie that I was watching with my dad. So I'm like, wait a second. Okay. So y'all want to watch this? It's a funny movie with Kevin Hart. Yeah, let's check it out. I click on the movie, and the whole time I'm sitting there waiting on my son to be born, or for her to go into contractions, it was like I was spending time with my dad. Like, he showed up to the hospital. I can feel his energy, bro. It was like, okay, I'm everybody, like, I don't know if they felt it, but I'm like perked up. I'm happy. Like, all right, dad showed up like he said he would. He didn't break his promise, because he always showed up, bro. He showed up for the football games. Every time he said he's going to be there and take us somewhere, we was going to go bike riding or bike racing. Me and RG used to race bikes when we was little. He'd be first thing in the morning, getting the van ready, getting the truck ready, making sure the bikes, he would be there. He's a man of his word. So when he showed up and I felt that energy at the hospital, I'm like, all right, cool. Watch the whole movie. At the end of the movie, the credits started rolling. And it was like I felt another message from my dad. He was just like, all right, I'm gonna let you get your privacy, handle your business, and bring this boy into this world and take care of him. Boom. She started having a delivery.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful because there's a lot of things we don't know about this world. We don't even know half about this world, and we know that energy can't be created or destroyed. We don't know anything, but that's the theory. Energy can't be created or destroyed. So everything we see in this life, like you have a body, right? Like we eat a steak that came from a cow. The cow now is a part of us, and it helps build us, build our muscles, whatever. We pass away, we're in the ground, we become soil, right? And now that soil becomes a tree, and so on and so on. It's just like a cycle. But yeah, that energy, doesn't leave. And I really believe that our loved ones are still with us. And that's why, I don't think when people pass, like, yeah, you're gonna be sad, of course, you're gonna miss them, but like when I pass, I want my funeral to be a celebration of life. You know what I'm saying? Celebration, sure. like same as like if you just won a championship, or you don't want a bunch of people hating, like man, sorry, we're happy we got to spend time with dude. We happy we enjoyed this life. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think it's your dad sounds like a great guy, sounds like a real solid dude. Sounds like he's really about his kids, and it shows because all of his kids were great athletes and strong people, successful people. So that's an amazing story. I know a lot of people are gonna feel that and relate to that for sure. But being a dad now, what's that like? So what's like the biggest difference from when you didn't have kids?
Really the purpose, man. It shifts. It's like being a parent, everything is about the kid now, because you got to realize, like, I owe this to my son, having a great father myself that stayed married to my mom until he passed and being there for me throughout my childhood. It showed me like I can't get no less than that, to where like if he has anything like sports wise, school wise, I'm there because I know the impact that it has on kids. Because he had a Christmas show, during December. And what I noticed, he did the same thing I used to do back when I played sports when I was little, is he was sitting down. He was just looking. He's scanning the crowd, and then boom, he found me. Whenever he found me, like it just lit up his face. He's happy. And it just showed in the performance that he was doing that day. So just being a dad just gives you something like very purposeful to pass on, and something bigger than yourself to be able to create in order for the better being.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, man. So let's switch it up for a second. So you talked about St. Louis in California. What is the biggest difference between the two? Because everything you're saying with to go back for a moment, what you're saying with in life, like sometimes you have to go and you have to make your own path, and if that sometimes that means leaving your friends and your family and going on your journey yourself. And you're not spending as much time with your friends, your family, stuff like that, but sometimes that's what you have to do in order to make your goals. You know what I'm saying? And family understands that. You know what I'm saying? So you might feel regret and not resentment, but regret that I could have spent more time. And none of us are perfect, but the biggest difference I see with Missouri and California is, well, number one, the air in Missouri is fresh, super fresh, but it feels like in Missouri, you know, time's just a little bit slower. You know what I'm saying? Out here in California, it's like everything's like on go. You gotta be grinding. You gotta be ready to go. You got to get it. There's so much stuff going on. There's so much. I mean, I guess that's like that city life, but you know, there's a lot of sleazeballs as well. There's a lot of people who maybe might be like trying to be your friend for some reason, but not because they just genuinely like you. You know what I'm saying? For me, if I meet somebody I genuinely like you, hey, what's up? We're friends, blah, blah, blah. I want to know about your life. I want to know about who you are. I want to know what you got going on. I've met so many people who are just super fake. You know what I'm saying? They want to be friends for some type of end goal. You know what I'm saying? Whether that was like, you know, maybe I'm training a hot chick and they're trying to get to the hot chick or some, you know what I'm saying? Some goofy stuff or, you know, just weird stuff. I don't get it. But I think in Missouri, you know, you might have someone who's like has a Confederate flag and is like, but they'll be like, hey, what's up? I'm a racist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're not fake, though. I can respect that. You're not fake. You know what I'm saying? You're being you. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But out here, there's a lot more like, you know, fake stuff. People just kind of being sleazy, shicey. There's a lot of good people here too, but I notice time is slower. A lot more scam artists out here, and people looking to manipulate or use you for different reasons. Yeah, those are the main things. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I haven't really thought about this too much, but moving from Missouri to California was a culture shock to me on the aspects of how things are done. You know, just growing up, and if y'all don't know, me and Manny went to the same high school. So we cut from the same cloth, so to speak. So yeah, it was just a culture shock to me, like you said, based on how people move. You know, I wasn't used to the fakeness and, you know, how LA moves, how fast it is. When I first moved to California, I was in Sacramento. I looked at Sacramento like almost like a little bit more glorified O'Fallon, because it was pretty much the same. Like it wasn't nothing different, kind of in the suburbs, whatever. But when I moved to LA, it was just like, whoa, like what? slow down for a minute. But yeah, that's the reason why I moved, was I wanted to have a challenge. I wanted to see the reality of the world and you know, all my idols and people that worked out at Gold's Gym. Like I'm connecting with these guys. I don't know if you know my story, but like that's how I got to California. Like I was actually sitting back when I started my fitness business back in 2015. I would film every single day because it was fun to me. You know, we had this brand called Freak Show. RJ came up with the name. We had shirts with FS on it, and we were just pushing the brand. And I was working at a job at the time, like selling.
That's that brand where you had like the strip club and the strippers, right? That's what.
yeah. The Freak Show. But we made the name because it was like, you know, people say that like, okay, the Lloyds are freak athletes. We're like, what are they talking about? But we just took it and ran with, okay, people think that, let's run with a Freak Show. So now it was like, you know, going back, filming every single day. I would go to my cubicle job that I didn't like. I was selling like some marketing packages for like the old Yellow Pages. You know, I was doing good because I understood sales, and I was wanting to use this skill set that I learned from one of my guys' courses on how to sell stuff. So I'm like, let me put this into practicality, make some good money, but always looking for a way out. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep on filming after work. I would film RJ, and I bought my first camera that I'm actually filming with right now, and I would just film and learn how to use it, learn like how to use the gimbal, tweak it a little bit. Every single day I would take notes after work, and after I film, I would take notes, and I would edit one video per day with just one 1-minute video. I did that for 4 months. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what, man, these guys out in California at Gold's Gym Venice, they doing the damn thing out there. So we got a group chat with my siblings. I said, hey, what do y'all think if I were to message Michael Hearn, which is a guy who's on Instagram that got 1 million followers? What do y'all think if I text him and just, you know, see if he'll let me film for him one time. I'm really good at the videos now. I've been consistent for 4 months. I'm damn near pro.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Now, never mind. It's not gonna happen. He has too many followers. He's not gonna see the message. My older brother messages me back. He said, bro, quit tripping. Like, hey, go for it. Message him. See what happened. I sent a message to Mike O'Hearn, and he said, he replied within like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, whoa. He's like, hey, yeah, you want to film? Show up at the gym this Saturday at 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, man, okay. So I got to get up at 5. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I text him back, said, I'll be there. So I show up to the gym, and I'm hyped up, bro. I was already traveling to California because I had somebody who booked my video services for something else. So I'm like, let me kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm already there. I go to the gym. I'm starting to film Mike O'Hearn, and he had like other guys with him, like Mark Bell and some other guys. So long story short, I edit the video like I do. I do my thing, cut up the edit real nice, and I send it to Mike O'Hearn. He's like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, can I send it to the other guys who was a part of the group that you were filming? I'm like, yeah, send it to him. He sends it over to the other guy named Mike, and I get a call. You know, I'm like, okay, they got their video. I had my fun time in LA. 2 weeks later, I get a text message. I'm just doing my normal routine. Go to work, go to work, come home, film, or come home, eat, film RJ, go home and edit the video. I get a text like, hey, this is Mark Bell. I would like for you to use your video services. And I'm like, okay, cool. What you need? You just want one video? He says, no. We want to hire you full time. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a second. I pull over on the side of the road. I'm coming back from the gym. I call my bro, like, bro, somebody playing on my phone, man. Talking about Mark Bell. And he says the same thing. He said, hey, reach out to him. And it might be him. Go for it. I said, all right. I reach out to him. I called him. I'm like, let me call this dude because they playing on my phone. Hey, this Mark Bell? Yeah, it's Mark Bell. Mike sent me the video, man. That's amazing work. We want to see if you're a good fit for our company. I said, say less. I've been wanting to move to California. I've been working this cubicle job. I need a way to display my talents, and yeah, I would love to do it. So long story short, I know it's a long story, but he flies me out to California to give me like a test run. And I can pull up the YouTube video. I'll show you later where that was my first video I filmed from him. It was like I had to wake up from 5 a.m. all the way to like, it was a vlog. I was filming his whole day.
Send it. Text me. I'll pull it up on here.
Oh, right now?
Yeah. So everybody can see it.
Yeah. So I was he called me and they ended up flying me out. I'm sitting there filming, bro. You got to realize like energy is different when you hyped up about something. I'm talking like it doesn't matter how you're not tired, none of that. Let me see if I can but yeah, that's pretty much how I got to California because it was just a flow of energy and consistent effort on me just going after like some stuff that was fun to me.
You were hungry. You wanted. There's one thing about California out here, things manifest very fast. So that's another big difference. Like, I don't know if it's the fact that the sun is out and, the sun grows things, but like things just happen very fast out here. Like you got an idea, and if you're really willing to go out there and put the work in and get it, boom, you're out somewhere, you meet somebody, and it's the person that you needed to meet, and then boom, that happens all the time. Like, it's very interesting to me. But out in Missouri, it might take a little bit longer for those things to happen. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. You can make it anywhere, but in California, I feel like there's just something special about just the amount of opportunity that is in California and how things just happen to happen so fast, because you literally thought that it was fake. You know what I'm saying? Because out there in Missouri, something like that wouldn't really happen more likely than not.
Fact. Yeah, I just sent the videos to you, but yeah, that was my journey on getting to Cali. And that's what really opened my eyes up to like, okay, that's what manifestation is. This is something that I couldn't believe, something that I was just dreaming about, because I'm going to give y'all the routine I was going through at the time, because, and this is the same thing I use today. I would wake up in the morning, bro, almost like I did not want to go to the job, but I knew it was a chronicle piece for me to get to the next step because I had to stack up some bread. I would listen to I go on YouTube like motivational videos. I would always come across like ET and guys like that hype me up. I'm talking like, I just got out of bed. And now I took a shower and now I'm driving to work listening to this stuff. I'm hyped up. Like, okay, that kind of pushed me through the day. And then I had these affirmations. One of my coaches back in the day put me on this app called Think Up. What Think Up is you can record your voice on some things that you desire in life. Like I desire to be fit and jacked and make $1 million. Whatever you desire, you say it on this app and you replay it to yourself every day. And that was on my list. Yeah. So it was burned into my subconscious. And then I'm actually putting the action steps into play with physically filming and physically editing these videos to where it just manifested within the 4 months.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. Man, I used to do affirmations every day. When I was in St. Louis and I was like, I want more for my life. You know what I'm saying? I think I could do this, but I'm not sure if I could do it. If I put the work in 5 years, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. Every day I had notebooks and stickers everywhere, things I'm grateful for, just zoning in. And at some point, you start to, a lot of things start to come true for myself. I kind of went away from that, and now, it's funny because just this week I'm like, I got to get back to doing that. Yeah, I have to be laser focused, have what I want in my mind, start the day off right instead of starting the day off with some, watching some goofy ass video. Start the day off, with a book. Start the day off with some motivational, just to set the tone for the day. You know what I'm saying? And it goes a long way. It really does.
No, I agree, man. I'm getting back to the basics too, man. Because at that time, I was dating a girl at that time, and I remember like, bro, none of that stuff mattered to me. Like I knew my full vision. Like I'm sitting there being fully honest with this girl. Like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Like we not gonna get married, but let's enjoy each other while the time lasts. But eventually, I'm gonna hit this level to where I'm gonna have to go because I want to go to California. And bro, the day when that came and I had the conversation with her, she didn't believe it either. I was like, I'm going next week. Like I'm leaving to follow my dreams and make this happen. So it just goes to show you, like when you laser focus on your goals and the things that you desire to do, it's gonna happen, no matter what, and you just get rid of all the distractions.
Yeah, and you're bound to have failures, but that's just part of it. But this is the video that Lloyd was talking about. And so for you guys that don't know, Michael Hearn is a dude, you might see him on Instagram. He's always like the super Chad, Uber Chad dude that like he has the "Baby Don't Hurt Me" song come on. And he's like flexing or something. Like, yeah, and actually he's like super into MMA as well. But
yeah, his son does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Here we go.
That's Mark right there. That's Keith Evans. He played in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about the copyright, so but yeah, this is all Lloyd right here. This is all Lloyd. So this is the video that started it all for you.
That started it out. That was the intro. What y'all are watching is the intro of the YouTube video, which was like 20 minutes long. But that first minute of it, just like your hype, you did this podcast, you had your little intro. This is the intro to the YouTube video. So yeah.
And so from 4 months every day editing a 1 minute video, you went and you created a whole business from that.
Yeah, that video you just seen, every single thing that I've learned throughout the 4 months, because you've seen like a lot of like, what do you call it? I can't remember the name of it, where you go slow, you speed up and you go slow. Yeah. All that stuff was learned from, I give credit to a guy named Lobo Films, bro. He probably was a top guy in the film and fitness industry that I learned from. He used to film for Dana Bailey and people like that, to where I started learning these techniques. I'm like, he's the top of the game. Let me try to mimic this guy. And eventually I ended up mastering all the skill sets that I needed in order for me to make some hype videos.
Yeah, you do great work, especially in the fitness industry. And you know, the fitness industry has evolved so much in the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? It's been getting bigger and bigger. And I love fitness. I love the fact that so many people out here, that's another thing. In California, there's so many more healthy people, and people are very into fitness. You know, everyone's working out. Every chick's trying to get a big butt. You know, everybody's out here working out and hitting the weights. You know, people are very health conscious. You go to juice bar, you know, which there's stuff like that in Missouri too, but it's just a little different, you know. I think for me, I think fitness is like the best industry, you know,
for
because
sure.
it's something that we all need. If we're here for X amount of time, we want to live a healthy life, a long life. I want to be strong. I want to have high testosterone. I want to be, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I always talk about on this channel, is that testosterone on the decline. You know what I'm saying? People are getting weaker. People are getting more unhealthy. You know, and I'm trying to bring testosterone back. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I like Trump, because right now he's bringing testosterone back. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with everything, but like, I like where he's going. I like what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? You get stuff with the USAID. USAID. You seen that? You seen that stuff?
Are you talking about the is that the crypto?
No, that's with so Trump and Elon Musk, they went in and they had some people like go and look into USAID, which is a government agency, and they just found all types of corruption and money laundering, essentially.
I mean, that shit been going on for years, bro.
Yeah.
But that shit been going on, but he's just exposing it to where, like, you know, I mean, this is a whole nother podcast. The celebrities and the top guys, they all be doing some weird shit, bro.
Yeah. You know, that's one thing when I moved out to California, you meet some of these celebrities and they're weirdos, or you meet them and they're just like, this is just a regular dude. Like, not everyone's regular, but like, I wouldn't even hang out with you in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you might be very skilled at whatever it is that you do, but you're really not that good of a person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't, you don't should really look up to none of these celebrities. There's regular people, you know, and that's why I love about the new day and age that we're in, is because, you know, you can meet somebody, this person's famous on TikTok, just a regular dude. This person is world famous, regular dude. Out here in California, see famous people all the time, just regular people. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. So I'll
say this one thing before move on too farther. So after, I probably worked for Mark for about a year and a half. And then at that point, at the end of my career working with Mark, I was going back and forth to LA, you know, because I met this girl that I already knew the girl before I moved to California. I'm talking about the mother of my son now.
Yeah.
So, you know, we started dating, doing the distance thing. And what I noticed was, you know, I started to lose my focus a little bit, you know, completely my fault as a man to start to lose that focus on, first of all, what got you here? Second of all, what is she even attracted to? Third of all, that's what you need to keep doing. So I started to change a little bit. Now I'm traveling back and forth, seeing a girl, going on dates. And, you know, eventually it got to the point to where I'll just put it out there. So eventually she becoming pregnant. We back. Yeah. So yeah, she ended up becoming pregnant. So I'm like, all right, as a man, like I said, y'all kind of heard my story about my father. I always be there for the kid, you know, do your thing. So I had a conversation with Mark. I'm walking, you know, I said, hey, Mark, I need to holler at you real quick. This is after one of our gym sessions. He's like, okay, give me a minute. He went, kind of sat down, got his mind right, ate some food real quick. And then he walks out and he's like, all right, let's walk around the perimeter of the building, which is like a big block. As we're walking, I'm explaining to him, like, hey, I got to go. Girl's pregnant. Just got the news yesterday. Like, this is how quick I made the decision. I'm like, yeah, I just got the news yesterday. She's sending me pictures of the pregnancy test, and I gotta go. So he's like, wait a second, hold on. He's like, okay, what are you gonna do for a job out there? It's like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. It's like, are you able to maybe stay here? We give you a raise, move her out here. I said, nah, I gotta go to LA, gotta go. So this is one of my biggest lessons as a man. I ended up moving to LA. Like, I literally just packed up my little car. I had a little bitty 350 Mercedes at the time. Couldn't bring no furniture. Sold the furniture on Facebook Marketplace, just for cheap, and just left to LA. So I'm like, okay, so now I moved to LA, moved in with her, don't have any income coming in. Mark was generous enough to keep me on the payroll for a couple more months. It's just the guy he is. He's just like, okay, let me at least let him get settled and continue to find some work. So long story short, so that's when I started to lose my focus, so to speak, because I was starting to change my ways. And I just wanted to tell that story based on, that maybe someone else can learn from, is just always stay focused, and on
you
your
weren't
purpose.
at that point, you weren't doing your affirmations, you weren't doing the motivational videos, you weren't hungry no more at that point.
I pretty much had my dream life, bro. I've always wanted to live in Cali. I'm here now. I'm filming for these top celebrities on a daily basis that Mark's inviting to the gym. What more do I need? And I end up losing it based on not continuously doing that. So
that's very important, because same happened to me. I think some point when I look back on some of my fights that didn't go my way, I always worked hard. I was always hungry. I always wanted it, but I did at some point stop waking up in the morning, writing my goals, affirmations, being hungry. Life is good. I got everything I want. You know what I'm saying? Life is good. You know what I'm saying? Got money coming in, got a beautiful girlfriend, successful, beautiful place. Life is good. You know what I'm saying?
Straight.
And you forget that, this was your dream maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But once you get there, you're supposed to keep going. So you can get complacent and just enjoy the ride, but I think you're only supposed to enjoy it for so long.
For sure.
And of course you're going to be grateful, but you have to be zoned in and focused. And that's why I like guys like Dana White and Dana White in particular, because this guy's probably worth $1 billion and
easily
still moving, still going, still on the move every day. Like, and I think the way you keep that is you have to have deeper goals. You know what I'm saying? So going back to the 7 habits of highly successful people, if your overarching goal is, something that you're thinking of at the end of your life, then every day, doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter how much success you get, you're always going back to that anchor, you're always going back to that goal. And everyone's going to slip up. No one's perfect, but I think it's very important, what you're saying, like, and women will, slip you up off your game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
Let's keep it real. Like, like women want the dude who's focused, lasered in, zoned in. Then you get the wife and you get the dad bod and you get fat, and you get testosterone, and like, you need to stay focused. You got to do whatever you got to do to stay focused. Even when you got the beautiful wife, even when you got the kids, even when you got this, even when you got that. Like, it's a very important lesson for men. Real important, because women will slip you off your game. Basically any pleasure seeking, over going too much pleasure, overeating, hanging out with too many women,
sex, all that stuff.
One woman, spending too much time with her. You know what I'm saying? Being too soft, then you get soft, then you get weak. Then, you know what I'm saying? Then you got the hungry dude around the corner. Now he's taking your job, you know what I'm saying? It's and maybe you're like, all right, I don't feel like fighting no more. Like, you can have it. You know what I'm saying? You could take, you could have that lead. You can have that. I'm chilling. I've made a lot of money, but that money doesn't last. You know what I'm saying? You have to constantly be grinding, and it's a constant struggle, just like the human race has been a constant struggle from day one to the end. Like, you're supposed to grind, supposed to suffer, be hungry, get the hunt, get the kill, and now you're satisfied. But if you just sit there because you got that kill, and you just sit there, you ate that food, and you just sit there, you're gonna be dead soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that hunt never stops. The grind never ever stops.
That's facts. I'm gonna say this, and then I'll let you lead it to where you want it to go. So with that all being said, I take full 100% responsibility of that. Also, with that being said, I felt like something that I needed out of that situation happened, because I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. You know, because coming from Missouri, moving to California, yeah, I had all the positive things lined up. However, now I'm in a new environment. I'm in LA. Now, how do you need to move and operate in order for me to be highly successful out here is just different from my understanding, to where those lessons came from, quote unquote, what I would call my downfall. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, 1,000%. That's what life's about. We gotta live and learn, you know. You're only 35, like, that's where it's like, you know, now you know, okay, I gotta stay. Even when shit's good, you still gotta keep those goals going. You got things that you know work, and you always go back to those things that work. The basics, going back to the basics. You know, in fighting, the most important thing is the basics. You know what I'm saying? Like, the basics are advanced. And that kind of showed me, like, damn, the most important thing in life is the basics. Like, the basics. Hey, showing respect, shaking someone's hand. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff like this. I've gotten business opportunities just because I literally said, hey, how's your day going? A random dude. And just say, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Boom, business opportunity. The basics, showing respect, giving respect. You know, in every aspect of life, the basics are advanced. You know what I'm saying? Because you see someone like John Jones fighting. John Jones, he does a lot of advanced stuff, like spinning back kicks, all this stuff. But ultimately, his game comes back to the basics: the ground and pound, the takedowns, the range control. You know, Floyd Mayweather, he's a master of the basics. And in life, you got to be a master of the basics in every aspect of life. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so let's get into, so you meet Mark, you work with him for a bit, you build up this beautiful business, you know, life's going well, you got the girl, you know, you're about to have a baby, but at the same time, life is at that, so all that's happening, your life's on a high turn, and then everything flipped basically for you, right? That's
pretty
wild.
much, yeah.
That's wild how life does that.
Pretty much, but I'm gonna let you know one thing, and I'll just put it like this: be careful what you wish for, because looking back on all of that, I asked for it, bro. Yeah. And I mean it in a way of like, show me the person I need to be and become so I can get the things I desire. So I'm like, I could have easily stayed at the crib with my mom and be cool, be complacent, have a place to stay, make some decent money, you know, and go, life goes on. But I chose to put myself out there, which is a risk. And with that risk, I asked for me to be fast forward to a different person and learn those lessons fast and quick. And, you know, that was God's way, or the universe way, whoever you believe in, to show me what do I need to see in order to become a different person, to be strong. And now I actually invite, anything I feel uncomfortable with, I invite it into my life. I wanted to do it faster. I want it to happen quicker. I want to learn that lesson, because it's going to build up calluses in my existence, to where I know how to operate with that. The same thing with diamonds. Diamonds are built through pressure. Like, I want that pressure, because you think I got pressure now. If I have a desire of doing bigger things, I have more pressure on, or maybe if I am like a millionaire and this and that. And I have different pressures of family coming to me about this. And I want that pressure. I want to experience it all. I want it, what it comes with it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I want to work through it. I want to do it as fast as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when you say be careful what you wish for, that's a great thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen it multiple times. You might wish for something that you really, really want. Every wish comes with another side of it. So, one thing, whenever you move to California or you move anywhere, as a matter of fact, like you have a big goal and you're like, all right, I'm going to take a leap. I'm going to go on my own. I'm going to be my own man. I'm going to be my own person. And you leave and you go somewhere. You're on your own. It's all up to you now, and you go there and you're starting over your life. You're meeting new people. For me, when I moved to California, I already knew a lot of people in California because my jiu-jitsu competition, every month, every year I'll be in California for about a month training and competing. So I had a lot of friends here already, but the first couple of years in California, it is pretty lonely because you're away from your family, the Christmases and stuff like that. Pretty lonely, especially if you don't have a bunch of friends, Thanksgivings and stuff like that. It is a moment where you like kind of learn a lot, So for me, that's what it was like for me, and I'm very grateful for being out here on my own. I've been out here in California, man, it flies by. I've been out here for like 8 years now. You know what I'm saying? Crazy, dog. It really is. It's like, damn, I almost been out here for 10 years. That's insane to me. But what was it like for you moving, leaving everything, and really taking that leap for your goals,
For me, it was a big personal growth, because what I learned was I can make it happen with a safe environment. Like I said, before I moved to Cali, I was living with my mom at the time. And before that, I was living in Atlanta, so I already had that experience of me going out of town, living in a different state. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's frozen, but I'll keep going. I already had that experience of me going to a different state and kind of like, going back to what's comfortable, moving back, like, you know what, too stressed out. Let me move back home with moms. But this time it's like, you know what, I'm going out there with a different intention. I need to prove it to myself, and I need to just grow as a man to stick it out and just keep going no matter what, and make the connections I need and blaze a path for myself. So that's what it was for me. It's more like a just do it. No matter what you feel, no matter what you go through, that's part of being a man, and just being consistent with it and understanding that everything will work out no matter what.
Yeah, that's a fact. I moved to California for my fight career, and best decision I ever made in my life. The amount of people I've met, the experiences I've had, the ups, the downs, everything, extremely grateful. So, yeah, man, we've been going for about 2 hours now. So I'm going to wrap it up. We're here with Lloyd, and where can we find you? What you got coming up? Let us know.
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Lloyd Fitness. Also, one big thing that I didn't mention is we have a charitable organization for my pops. That's one big thing, is like everything happens for a reason, and just make sure that if you're going to go through the grief and the pain, make sure you get something out of it, and make sure you make it positive. So my family started a charitable foundation. It's called Open Heart Charity on Instagram. And, we're in the process of launching it to where we're going to make it public, to where we're going to help out families that are struggling financially. Because what we've noticed throughout that process was, like I said, preparation. We wasn't prepared for none of this, and it just all of a sudden happened. And so any family that's struggling with any type of financial hardship, with a family member that's going through any type of cancer, my family's going to donate and help those families out. So we're in the process of getting that all organized, and within the next month, we're going to launch. We already had a grand opening like a couple months ago, which I'm editing the video for that. But yeah, so yeah, just you'll see me a lot doing the charity stuff and just reaching out and giving back to families that are in need.
That's beautiful. And fitness people, you need that work done with Lloyd has some of the best fitness content as you've seen with Mike O'Hearn and the different people he's worked with in the medical industry and stuff like that. So yeah, we appreciate you, man. Really appreciate the stories and everything, man. We had a great conversation. Much love.